Oh, we have one, and we have another one. Well, that's wonderful. This is a story for all the mothers out there in the audience. This is the story of a mother who stood by her son up until death. Now, out of the New Hampshire area, there came a man born by the name of Jack Rosethorn. Now, old Jack, although born and raised in New Hampshire, made quite a name for himself as a pirate, pillaging the Boston area. Now, eventually, old Jack Rosethorn was caught, and he was forced to stand trial for his crimes of piracy, and it was decreed Jack Rosethorn is found guilty, and he will be executed by hanging on the morrow. So there's old Jack, locked in the Boston jail, being guarded by the jailer. And on this particular evening, old Jack Rosethorn had a late visitor. 'Twas his mother. Now his mother goes to the jailer and she says, "Oh, please, sir, please, let me give my son a final meal before he is sent off to the gallows as the condemned man. Let me comfort his son in his hour of sorrow." Aye, the jailer looks at Jack's mother, but she's very concerned about her son, and agrees and said, "Very well, ye may pass. Go feed and comfort his son." And the whole time she's feeding old Jack and comforting him, and she gives him a nice cup of wine to wash his meal down with. And the jailer is sitting there, guarding old Jack. But eventually the overtakes the jailer, and he drifts off to a contented sleep. Now the morrow came, and the jailer woke up, and he makes his way over to the cell. He grabs the keys, unlocks the door to Jack's cell. Aye, but old Jack is not in his cell. So they search around the city of Boston, and they find Captain Jack Rosethorn, and they lock him back in the Boston jail. And it's decreed one more time that Jack Rosethorn will be executed on the morrow for his crimes of piracy. But on this particular night, once again, old Jack Rosethorn had a late visitor. 'Twas his mother. Now his mother makes his way over to the jailer and says, "Oh, please, sir, please, let me give my son one more meal as the condemned man, and let me comfort my son in his hour of sorrow." All right, well, let me tell you. Now the jailer is looking more suspiciously at old Jack's mother, but agrees, "Very well, ye may pass. Go feed your son." And she's feeding Jack. She gives him a nice bit of beef and some potatoes and some greens, and she gives him a nice cup of wine to wash everything down with. And the jailer is sitting there, guarding old Jack. Aye, but the boredom and the fatigue overtake the jailer as he drifts off once again to a contented sleep. Tomorrow came again, and the jailer makes his way over, and he grabs for the keys, and he unlocks the cell, and once again, Jack Rosethorn is not in his cell. So they search around the city of Boston again, and they find old Jack, and they lock him back in his cell, and it's decreed one more time, Captain Jack Rosethorn is to be executed by hanging on the morrow. Aye, but now, a lot of stories are circulating around the city of Boston. How's old Jack pulling off these miracles? He must be a practitioner than they are to black magic. Aye, but the jailer doesn't buy into any of these black magic stories. The jailer says that he's gonna stay awake no matter what it takes. And he's gonna find the secret to old Jack Rosethorn's black art magic. Now, there's the jailer guarding Jack's cell. And Jack Rosethorn had yet another late visitor. 'Twas his mother. His mother goes to the jailer and says, "Oh, please, sir, please, let it stop," says the jailer. "Ye may pass. Go and feed your son." Aye. So she's sitting there feeding Jack, but then turns around to see that the jailer, although struggling, is managing to stay awake. So she makes her way over to the jailer and says, "Oh, my dear sir, I do apologize. I forgot to bring some cups for the wine. You don't happen to have any, do you?" Aye, and the jailer says, "Why, yes, I do. They're in the galley. I'll get you some." But he doesn't go get the cups. He just hides behind the wall. And he peeks over, and the jailer learned the secret to Jack Rosethorn's black art magic. The secret was that every time the jailer would fall asleep, Jack's mother would go grab for the keys, make her way over, unlock the door to the cell, and Jack is off and about on his way, and she gently put the keys back. Not to arouse suspicion. So the morrow came, and the jailer makes his way over. And he unlocks the door to Jack's cell, and Jack is dragged out before the crowd at Boston Common. The charges are read, and Jack Rosethorn is hung right there on Boston Common for his crimes of piracy. And hanging next to old Jack, I think you know what it is, so you can join in with me on it. 'Twas his